So this is a follow-up video to this morning's news wave because wouldn't you know it, as soon as that news wave goes live, like an hour later, they did announce the Nintendo system that is made out of Legos. And we're going to go over that here today with some of the pricing details, all the information that's been released, because they put out a tons of images, a full video, a lot of stuff to go over here, especially if you are interested in this. And I did ask some people about the pricing who are much more familiar with Lego than I am, because I have my own opinion on the price. And well, I'm a little surprised as to what they said about it. But again, we'll go over that here. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it on the way out. And if you're brand new here, consider subscribing down below, turning that little red button gray. And let's just go over to the page here, because they tweeted it out, announced it on Twitter, and then they linked us to this page right here, the Super Mario Nintendo Entertainment System, which, by the way, continues to fit in with Nintendo being very much focused on Mario this year. Again, to me, leaning into that Mario collection being revealed. We've seen a lot of things about Mario, which included a full clothing lineup, obviously from Levi's, and we're supposed to have the Super Nintendo World that was going to open that was heavily themed with Mario. Now we have this collaboration with Lego, which has several other sets. Yeah, it is turning out to be a very Mario kind of year. But it is set for release August 1st, as we had seen with those leaks. And it's also $230, $229.99, and then, of course, tax. Now, looking at this, my initial reaction was, that feels expensive, right? I mean, we had talked about how it could have been up to $300 because we were trying to do conversions and, okay, how will they mark this up in certain areas? No, it looks like it's just going to be $230, which was like on the low end of what I thought it could have been. But I still look at the Lego set, right, of an NES, and I go, "Whew, man, that feels expensive." But I did talk to some people, again, who are much more familiar with Lego, people who actually collect Lego sets, and they said that this price does not surprise them. In fact, they are of the opinion that this price is not bad for what it is, and I wanted them to go a little further into that, and the biggest thing that they explained to me was, one, the licensing fees for Nintendo are probably pretty high, like on the same... probably the same level as like Star Wars licensing for some of those sets, and those sets can be pretty expensive. But they also pointed to the fact that it has over 2,600 pieces, and apparently when we do the math and all of this, comes out to like 9 cents or something a piece, which according to them is not bad. And of course, the work and everything that goes into making sure you can take a bag full of just plastic and turn it into this, they are of the opinion that $230 from a Lego standpoint is not bad. But of course, for me, from someone who is like, I could buy an NES and several games, or a Switch Lite and some games, it feels expensive to me. But there are probably a lot of people, especially the people I talk to, who are already on board with this. And hey, you know what? I'll pick it up too, because we'll do a fun tech wave with it. I think it could make for a really cool and interesting Sunday video. So make sure you subscribe to the main channel for that one, because I do have a Lego store in my area, and I will go there to pick this up in about 2 weeks. Not too bad. So the overall system itself is pretty funny, because they did go pretty far. This is the one thing I'll give Lego a lot of credit for. They do a lot with plastic bricks. They really do. I mean, this looks very similar to what people would have in their house in the 80s, like the mid to late 80s. You had an NES, you had a tube TV that may have actually been up on a wooden stand, and it was like this little square box with one little antenna coming out that is supposed to, that would be funny, by the way, if that antenna actually like extends and then can push down. That, to me, would complete it. Doesn't necessarily look like it right here. But they have a lot of pictures. We saw the box art. I like the simplistic box art, by the way, because it does mimic the NES box art a bit, where it didn't have a lot going on either for the original one. It has like kind of like stars in the background there. And just looking at it, looks like, yep, you can lift the lid. You can pop the cartridge in. I guess you're going to build the cartridge. The back of the TV is funny because they have, of course, the coax cable here. And you know what? If you had composite in, which was of course the yellow video and a red audio, you had a top of the line TV there. I didn't have that for the longest time. I remember when the Nintendo 64 came out, we had to go to the store so we could get something that would allow me to plug it into the coax in the back of the TV. We had one of those old TVs for a long time. So let me know if you're a little older and you had a composite out on the back of yours. Not so much for me, but it looks like the way it's going to work on the front, you have this crank here, and as you turn it, Mario will run through a level, and the inside of it is kind of set up almost like a curtain that moves around, and that scene will change. You have this little disc right behind Mario that will run into things and have Mario, who has popped away from it, look like he is running along the scene itself. I mean, it's a really cool idea, and again, what Lego has been able to do with these just bricks essentially is kind of neat, right? Like you can see it here where it's pushed against it and kind of just running along the terrain. And you can apparently put the little Mario figure, if you already have him, I don't, on top, and it will play the music as you're running. That is kind of neat as well. Here's the piece that will allow you to do that, which is cool. And the cartridge itself, sure, this looks like a pretty straightforward assembly for the cartridge. I do wonder about the assembly for things like the NES system and, of course, the TV. The TV looks like it's going to be a whole thing, right? If you have to put a curtain of plastic in there to turn it and make it work, I think it's going to be because this is geared towards adults, it seems, from what they are saying with their marketing, the fact that it's 18 plus for ages. It does sound like they are looking to have this really just sold to people who remember the NES, of course, with all the nostalgia. Looks like a piece you would be able to set up and display, so that's actually pretty cool. Like that alone seems like people will want to buy it just for that. The building process could be fun, and then, of course, being able to just set it up as a fun showpiece. Is it $230 fun? That's something you're going to have to ask yourself. But again, after talking to people, it seems like they are very sold on this idea as fans and collectors of Lego already. It's just going to come down to people who would like or have an NES and are fans of Nintendo will want to move over to Lego. I think that's the biggest part of this, by the way, is that Lego probably sees some serious cross-promotion opportunities here where if they can sell someone who's not really into Lego a Lego set like this and they enjoy it, they might come back for more. So for them, this obviously makes sense. And Nintendo's trying to put Mario everywhere for his anniversary year, which, again, we assume is going to lead up to that big 3D collection that I'm also very hopeful for. But $230, August 1st. This is the NES. There are a lot of pictures. Jeez. The NES... There we go. NES, or the Nintendo Entertainment System Super Mario Edition from Lego and Nintendo. But let me know what you guys think about this. Just a few weeks out, $230, 2,646 pieces. Is this something, especially if you are a Lego veteran who collects them, is this something that is worth it? Let me know down below. It's going to come down, for me anyway, to how hard it is to find. Because if it is, get ready for the resellers and the scalpers online, especially if stock is limited going into the holidays. You might see people buy this, not even open it, and see if it is worth reselling during the holidays. $230 could very quickly become $350 or even $400 if someone at Christmas time really wants it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you enjoyed it. Dislike it if not. I'll see you next time.